Hey everybody, this is Grace. The other day, I think it was actually last week, I did a video about histrionic people. Now, my experience is that usually they have narcissistic histrionic blended behavior. Sometimes they're rather sadistic even, and I called them the dramatic dark triad instead of the dark triad, the dramatic dark triad. Anyway, I said I had some notes that I had taken that I wanted to make videos about them. Some of them I took from the DSM 4TR. Yeah, it's listed in my description, on this video, below this video on YouTube. Now, I'll get it out in a minute. But anyways, the next so I already did that. The next ones that I were thinking about was this. It's when they're caught doing something. In that video, I think part of it was when they're, when they're doing bad to somebody and they want to play the victim. And they're really, really good at playing the victim. Acting like somehow, some way that person, their victim, when they are victimizing, that somehow they are the ones who are doing it, and they're insulting them, and they're doing this. Some of them, they just go behind people's back and just tell people that that's the case. Okay, they don't have to be called. They don't have something to happen for them to do it. But if they are, they can play the victim really well. That somehow that person was doing it. But they also had written that they state that they don't even know the person, their target, their victim. They'll just say they don't know them. Flat out, they don't know them. Yeah. And let's see what else I wrote. They say that they wouldn't even pay attention to somebody like that. They wouldn't even have that person in their life. That type of person. They're going to insult, on top of everything, their target, their victim. They will insult them. Why would they have anything to do with them? That's not my type. That's not what I would go for. I knew that the FedEx was going to come right when I came out here. Oh my goodness, hold on. The FedEx person just delivered. Didn't have a mask on. They're mandatory in Texas. Can I say more? Yeah. But yesterday, we made one order, been delivered, which actually we made a second order. Pieces have been delivered before. This one was after the date. It was supposed to be delivered yesterday. Instead of all of it at once, which I knew that this would happen after the first time. But one here, one there. And yesterday I was thinking, man, we should have at least one and delivery. And I looked on the app. I said, it says they're right. And then they knocked on the door. It was weird. That's been happened to me a lot lately. But anyway, real life happens in the middle of a video. Okay, anyway, this time I said, as soon as I go out there, they're going to come driving up. And they did. It's the second time that's happened to me. Anyway, to get on with it. I was talking about that they like say they're cyberstalking somebody. Now, cyberstalking can mean different things. Mine, I've been cyberstalked. I've actually had the person come, in person. Okay, somebody saw me online. This was way back close to 30 years ago. And, yeah, that kind of cyberstalking, more than once. Okay, there are different types of cyberstalking. There are people who really want to take it offline and come after you. And then there are people who just follow you everywhere. Just, they do the... Is that what they call gang stalking? I don't know. That's the word I need to look up. Term I need to look up. And they'll just make your life miserable online. Let's just put that one that way. Like people who will steal your ideas, and that's my pet peeve. Oh, big time. It's happened to me every year that I've been making videos on YouTube. It's not always been the same person. It's like it usually changes every year or 2 years. I've had two in the past, say 2 years, that did it for 2 years. Yeah. And one's still doing it. And they steal your ideas. You know, they stalk you. They find however many channels you have. You know, like I have YouTube channels, have more than one. They've searched them out. You know, some people do that. It's just that they like what you have to say. But I'm talking about people who are cyber stalking, and for a purpose, for their selfish purpose or whatever. And it's bad. It's something bad. And so they do that, and then they'll act like, well, I don't watch that person. Well, why would I watch that person? That person's beneath me. You know, my experience is that usually the bigger YouTubers, or they're trying to become bigger YouTubers, they will steal the ideas of other people. Not just me. I've seen them steal other people's ideas. I knew one that told all of her friends, this is how you do it. You go and take their ideas, and you make them your own. I'm serious. And she was the one that did it to me. And so did her friends. Anyway, but they'll do that, and then they'll say, like I just said, you know, that they don't even know the person. Why would they do that? They, you know, along this line. And then even denying it. And the person can have what they call these days receipts. You know, it's like proof, evidence. Even though the person has it, like videos are there, when they're published, it has a date. You can't change the published date. And theirs will be right, you know, like the day after. And there's your proof. Partly your proof. Same idea, same thing, same concept. Stealing people's words. One woman, she stole my whole video verbatim. I'm not kidding. She just did it in her own voice. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. Oh my goodness. But anyway, they'll continue doing it, even though all the while denying it. You know. And then also they will try to set up, you know, a case where it shows their innocence. You know, they might do something like, you know, like the person has said on a video or something that they want to talk about this subject, okay, and maybe they don't that day, but they do another day. Well, that person will take that concept and make a video quickly. And say, see there, they're copying me. You know, still proof out there, but they're not the smartest people in the world. They're not the, you know, yeah, they're just not. But anyway, like I said, even if people have receipts, well, you know, then, you know, people start to notice this. But it's kind of like a lather, rinse, repeat kind of thing. And then, you know, like what people call their flying monkeys, you know. I see it as, in a way, it's like a mean girl or mean boy, but adults. And that there's that one that they just believe everything this person says, and then the flying monkeys or wannabes, or they're just people who are just temporarily fooled by this person, you know, charmed by this person. And usually those are the ones that leave, but the flying monkeys, yeah, they'll hold them up. You know, they'll back them up, and they'll raise them back up, whatever they have to do. Okay, and in all this, I had a whole note sheet that says, underline now, steadfastness. There's nothing underneath it, and it's in the middle of all that. You know, I'm not the best person to talk about that topic, I guess. Anyway, more notes. Histrionic prevalence. Why do they want to get rid of that out of DSM? I don't know. You know. Maybe it's because it's just so common, but yeah, you know, the whole thing about that it has to affect their jobs, and some of these people, because they're so charismatic, they know how to play, they're dramatic, they know how to act. My experience is they know how to act, and I would think that what would get them in trouble is sexual harassment. Yeah, because my experience is that male or female, the females will just dress young, dress too provocative. Older ones will try to dress like they're much younger than they are, and still maybe even a little provocative. Their friendliness, they think friendliness is kind of provocative. Or they're just purposefully being that way. And yes, in some jobs that might help them out, but that might be the one that hurts them the most, if at all. Maybe they've learned over the time to not be that way because of all the training and and all that. But anyway, let's see, I said selfie era. I wrote online YouTubers. You could say that on any social media, not just YouTube. Any of that, even if it's not just videos, you don't have to see them. Just the way they act, behave. It's very common, And I wrote higher rates. Yeah, I think the ones who are more histrionic get higher amount of viewers for whatever they're doing. I do think that. I'm not saying that all of them. I'm not an all or none type thinker. It really bugs me. And I know I've been around them so much, heard them so much in my life that I have to watch that, because it's like you learn to say all or none. When you know in your mind, you don't think that way. But they do. The ones I've known, they do think that way. It's all. Everybody has to be that way. Anybody else, nah, it didn't happen. They will deny it. Totally deny it. Say you're wrong somehow. Okay. There's that. Okay, like I said, these were just notes I wrote down over, could be years. Yeah. And I'm finally getting to them. Okay, and then I have histrionic personality disorder versus narcissistic personality disorder. I don't know why I wrote that. Narcissistic attention for praise for their superiority. Okay. And I wrote histrionic. I didn't say anything else. Well, the next line was histrionic. Will histrionic personality disorder be viewed as fragile or dependent to get attention? Okay. And then narcissistic exaggerate relationships, and they're as VIP statuses or worth of their friends. I don't know. Okay, like I said, it could have been, it's a long time ago, but I can see those. And then something about funnies during dramas never get told. Don't know. Long time ago, like I said. Okay, and this one I did get out. I must have gotten it out of the DSM that I mentioned. And it says, what I'm guessing that I was talking about is when is it considered a disorder, histrionic behaviors? And I wrote, only when these traits are inflexible, maladaptive, and persisting, and cause significant functional impairment or subjective distress, and also excessive emotionality and attention seeking. That's why we leave them up to counselors and the like to diagnose, because really, in these days, during these days, this time, this era, as a sociologist, I can see that these behaviors in my social world and what I've seen, and I've lived in many places. I was born and raised in Texas. I'm in Texas, but I have lived in many states and been to many places, and as a student, as a employee, as whatever, and I have seen so much of it. People who are acting with these histrionic behaviors and a little bit narcissism added to it, and it's very common in my world. But now I have actually read research that said it is very common, and that was many years ago. And that's what's funny. It was many years ago, and it was a scholarly research article. And then more recent one says it's not that common. I'm like, what? Has it just become more acceptable? These behaviors that it would be seen as not that common, because that's acceptable behavior, like selfies. People who are dramatic in videos when actually maybe they're dramatic also in life. Maybe it's not a persona. Maybe it is who they are. Yeah, could be, and so on. Go from there. Okay, on another one, it must have been from the DSM, it says histrionics and voices of authority. Who they see as a voice of authority. They're trusting of it. and these will magically solve their problems. You know, like conspiracy theorists, they magically solve their problems by telling them that what they think is right when it's wrong. Okay, and then they gain nurturance from these types. It's like it's confirmation bias. Comes down to it. Okay, histrionic relationships, low intimacy, less less same-sex due to provocativeness. Oh, you know, like friendships. They have less friendships because, the friend with, let's say, a woman doesn't want to be another woman's friends because she's so provocative. The histrionic one, you know, one with histrionic behaviors, that she might steal her boyfriend or her husband or something like that. Okay, or whatever. Okay. They constantly need attention. They constantly need attention. Oh my goodness, I could write a library of books on how much they need attention. Seriously, what I've seen that they go and they do to get such attention, unbelievable. Seriously. Let's see. You know, and if they don't, they get depressed. I've seen that, and or just upset and throw a baby temper tantrum. Seriously, I have seen temper tantrum from adults because they're not the center of attention. They're going to get it one way or the other. Okay, even if it is bad attention, negative attention, like I've said before, they don't care as long as it's attention. The attention's on them. And I wrote new relationship excitement. They do. I think that what I've seen that they always have that. You know, they brag about the person. The whole relationship is so much, so much romance and so much is wonderful and great and all that. And then it starts to wane and they want somebody else. They want somebody new. You know, these are not just females now. Remember that. Okay, and I think these are the best of those. This one about histrionics, people who have histrionic behaviors, or maybe the disorder, when their own projects, like at work or at play or home, whatever it is, they might initiate their job or the project. They're all like, let's do this and let's do that, and what I wrote was with enthusiasm. I don't know if I got this out of the DSM or not, and but their interest in it lags quickly. Okay, they might be all enthusiastic, but once you get them down to work, forget it. That's my experience. It's part of mine. I wrote histrionic fleas. Yeah, the mean girls. I wouldn't call them narcissistic flying monkeys. I'd call them histrionic flying monkeys. And if you learn behaviors from them, it's histrionic fleas, not narcissistic fleas. The bad behaviors. Anyway, and I wrote high IQs might do this the same. Initiate something that they're enthusiastic at first, but really when they get down to it, it doesn't feed their need. It could become dull or boring. Yeah, if it doesn't. Anyway, and I put histrionics aren't not that smart. So smart. I've already mentioned that. And I don't know why I wrote high IQ to help histrionics? ? Good question. Anyway, then I think I got thrown off because of that driver dropping off a package. But anyway. Okay, got a little more of my notes organized here. Anyway, one of them says histrionic mean girls as adults. Yeah, like I said, when you look at it, they're the same whenever they're young teenagers, maybe even before then. My experience, yeah, I remember. We didn't call them mean girls, and really, it was just like they weren't so much like organized when I was young, like into group. It was just one might be a mean girl, but they weren't like a whole group. They weren't, like I said, organized. And So they don't tend to change. In my experience, they don't tend to change as they get older. Now, some people, say that people with certain personality disorders. I'm really not talking about the personality disorders, but as they age and grow, they kind of grow out of it at some point. I think the only one I've ever heard anybody say that they do, not all of them, it's not a one size fits all, but overall they kind of grow a little bit out of it, or they're not as harsh, was borderline personality disorder. Now that's the one I don't know enough about. I do know people who were diagnosed with it, and their behaviors are kind of narcissistic histrionic. And from what I've heard people say, it's like borderline personality disorder. They borderline on all the personality disorder. They borderline, on psychosis. Anyway, and I wrote down that they're competitive people, and I've noticed that. The competitive side is that they got to be the one that has all the attention on them, And I think that when they can't win, they turn to this of saying the other person cheated. The other person, somehow, broke some rules or something like that. So they cheated so they get what they want. That's how the person won the competition. And it might not even be a competition. It's just that they see it as a competition for something. And they say how the other person is also so bad, and they did this and they did that to make themselves, win. It's not even a competition. You see what I'm saying? Okay, I found one more in this stack, and if it would fit. This one is about basically really, they can be narcissistic or histrionic, or have a blend of behaviors, like I said. And it's when they take from you your own sense of self, your identity. I've mentioned this in videos before, but I'll go through them quickly. Like I said, narcissistic or histrionic, they upstage you. Nothing can be about you. You can't even dream. Talk about your dream, because it's not about them, unless it is about them. You can't be sick, because they're going to claim that they're sick. You can't have your own hairstyle. They're going to take it. And say that you copied them. Like I said, they take your ideas. Anything that's if you say you have a favorite, they're going to go. They usually know more people. They're usually more popular because they know how to con people, manipulate people, draw people in. They're charismatic. They've learned how to do that. And anything that if you say like you have a favorite, they're going to say they have a favorite. And it's going to be your favorite, but they're going to tell everybody else it's their favorite. I've mentioned these before. They're slackers. My experience on jobs, these are the slackers. But they know it all. They talk all the time about everything that they know, which they don't know. They just talk. Yeah. And then they're the know-it-all who tell everybody, like if they're at work, and they are truly the slackers. And they're at work, and they tell everybody what they did wrong. They tell everybody what they did right. No, wait, or they're not doing right. Wait. Or let's see, how did I put it? Oh, yeah. They'll tell people, like somebody who already knows that they're doing the job right, that person maybe even above them in, position-wise. And they'll tell them, yeah, you're doing that right. Well, the person already knows that, but you see what I'm saying? It's hilarious when you see that. Different beliefs. If you stand for nothing, kind of attitude. Let's see. They have expectations of perfection on other people. Other people must be perfect. They must, there's no making any mistakes. Nope, you cannot make any mistakes. You must be perfect, or all of whatever you've done, I'm exaggerating on purpose, everything is wrong because you made that mistake. You didn't know it in the first place. What does that sound like? I wrote these notes probably sometime last year or the year before, so it kind of fits what's going on these days. Let's see. And I wrote, center of attention, we know that. But like on the phone at lunch, the people. Now, I have a problem. Like if you're in a restaurant and somebody's on the phone on the next table over, say they're by themselves and they're on their phone, and they're speaking in a normal voice. Well, I've known people who get mad at that, and they're sitting there next to that person in the restaurant talking to their friend across the table. That's what you're doing. Now, if somebody's on the phone and they're talking really loud, I don't care if you're talking really loud on a phone or you're talking really loud sitting at a table. That's rude. And that's rather histrionic, too. They're very loud. So, when people get all bitchy about people who are using phones inside of a restaurant and they're not doing anything but being on the phone, yeah, take a look at yourself. Anyway, if there's a big celebration, a big party, a big something going on, they're going to turn it, even if it's not about them, they're going to try to turn it around to them. They're going to try to get the attention back on themselves somehow, some way. Even if they have to do the kind of thing of being too loud. Let's see. I've already mentioned the way they laugh, and their appearance is very loud. Everything about them is very loud. Their laugh is, it's a cackle. Basically, they take credit for somebody else's work, and they tell a story of how they did it when they didn't. Anyway, I got off track from that one thing. Plus, there was a lot of traffic. A lot of traffic was going behind me, so I was wondering, am I going to have another one come up behind me to deliver something? Hey, it's happened 2 days in a row like that. But as I mentioned earlier, in that way. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I'll talk to you on another video.